For if one is remembered by a friend, one is never truly gone.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Greetings from the galaxy far, far away. This is the Star Wars podcast brought to you by Fandom Empire. Yes, you will notice that our usual panel is not entirely here, but that's all right. We're carrying on anyway. Obviously, you notice the distinct lack of Sean, who, despite appearing a few seconds ago, for a few seconds, is not actually with us tonight. He is sitting solely in the producer's chair tonight, as if you listened to Tonight in Haddonfield last night, you are well aware that he is currently under the weather and dealing with a very limited vocal acuity, and decided that a 2-hour plus movie probably not the best idea for him to try and soldier through without a proper voice. So obviously, get well soon. We'll have him back here next week, hopefully. That's the plan, anyway. But joining us tonight, as usual, on this side, Randy, how you doing tonight?
I'm not doing too bad. It's been one of those days where I'm just like, it feels like Monday again. However, I realized that's right. I get to watch Return of the Jedi tonight. So I was like, okay, that'll make my day even better once I get home. So I'm excited.
Johnny does not want to hear the trivia intro again, ever, really, if we're being honest. Obviously, over on my other side, over here, joining us very special tonight to fill the void left by Sean. He'll be with us until it's bedtime. Tommy B, how you doing tonight, buddy?
It's already bedtime. I'm hanging out for, I don't know, we'll see, first hour or so. We'll see. Till I get bored. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh.
That's all right.
Death Star number 2.
That's all right. You're filling in tonight, so you don't have to be quite as... You can walk out in the middle of a watch party and nobody's going to complain. If I try to do that while we're doing, like, say, I don't know, episode 1 or 2, I'd probably get yelled at. So I'm jealous you're able to do that. So, obviously, we're going to just jump right in. But before we do that, your usual stuff that we got to cover. If you like the stuff, if you like the content, if you like seeing our beautiful faces and want to see more of them, down below, click the subscribe button, click the like button, click the thumbs up, and leave a comment to help us defeat the evil algorithm. And, of course, head on over to the channel where you can see all of our other content. Monday nights, Tonight in Haddonfield. Wednesday nights, welcome to the Geek Side. Intermittently and occasionally, Sean will pop up with a random video game stream. Lately, it's been episode 1, where he continues to get wrecked by droids and the environment, and even occasionally sharks. While he's been playing episode 1, it's quite comical to watch. Yeah, and if you like all that stuff, if you want to contribute to the channel at another level, you can head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/fandomempire, where you can contribute at whatever level you're comfortable with. Not contributing, also an option. Either way, we're happy you're here and we're happy you're watching. So let us get right down to the business at hand. Obviously, as you can see down below me, Randy didn't jinx us. We are actually able to do the Return of the Jedi watch party this week. So we're going to do exactly that. There was some light news today, but we decided, we've put this off long enough, and this is not worth changing our plans again. So we will have new news for you next week about Mandalorian and Grogu. Some new information came out on that. We'll cover it next week. And I'm sure next week Randy will tell us all about the beginning of the new season of The Bad Batch and how great he thinks it is, while Sean and I try not to snooze on the other side of the panel.
Crappy take.
See, this is why we need to get Tommy in next week so that he and I can just go crazy about the first episode of the new season.
3 episodes.
Oh, they're dropping 3?
3 episodes tomorrow.
Oh, well,
yes.
I'm all about that.
I'm legit thinking about waking up even a little earlier, and I wake up 4:30, and just so I can watch a little bit, taste
I'm having flashbacks to Obi-Wan, where Sean and I were doing reviews at 4 o'clock in the morning because we stayed up to watch the episodes immediately once they dropped. Those were not fun nights. Great content, but not fun nights. All right, guys. So obviously, Disney Plus. Obviously, head on over there. Head to the Return of the Jedi page. Click play and get ready to watch it with us. I will, as always, count down. We're starting right at 000. Okay, it's the first thing you're going to see. Obviously, is 20th Century Fox logo. You're in the right place. You're watching the right thing. We will do our best to, obviously it's a watch party, so we're not always going to be talking, so make sure you queue it up and watch us. If you join in the middle, we will do random check-ins. If you are in the chat and you join us late and you need a time check, just hit us up in the chat. Give us, ask for a time check. We'll do our best. We'll obviously call out some certain scenes as they're happening and things of that nature, and we'll do routine time checks just to keep you guys focused and part of the program. Like I said, no Sean this week, so your messages aren't going to get pulled up like you normally do, so we apologize for that, but we will still do our best to sort of monitor the chat and keep our eye on it as we go. It'll just be a little bit more difficult because we're flying one host down. So if you guys are ready, I am ready. Head on over to your Disney Plus window and I will count down from 3, 2, 1, play. Here's your 20th Century Fox logo. And we're at 10 seconds. Lucasfilm fading in. Oh, every time you see that text, it just, you're in for a good time.
Every time? Really?
I mean, I can't. Yeah,
Every time?
Almost every time.
That's saying a lot for a prequel hater.
I am a prequel hater. But the opening crawls were all great. It's after that things went downhill fast in those films.
Luke Skywalker has returned. It's just like somehow Emperor Palpatine has returned.
Well, that actually makes sense, though, because, I mean, obviously, when we left off in Empire, we know that the good guys didn't get their way. We know Han has been captured by, and frozen in carbonite, and obviously, as it tells you, he's currently in the clutches of Jabba the Hutt. And I'm going to apologize in advance for any drooling you might see during the first few minutes of this film. I swear it's not at all related to what's happening on the screen. Or is it? Well, I'll let you decide. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not drooling over Jabba, okay? Because I'm sure that's what Sean's typing in the chat right now. So, it's a safe bet that he's saying something highly inappropriate, that I'm drooling over Jabba the Hutt or something of that effect. I'm not, okay? I don't drool over Hutts. There's still something about the destroyers flying overhead like that just is so gorgeous.
I swear they get bigger every time.
Yeah, but what would it look like if they made it in 2024?
I mean, I think they got it right the first time, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
This is one of those instances where, you can improve the techniques and you can improve certain elements, but visually, I don't think you could do better. Like the effects might be a little crisper and a little cleaner in some spaces, but generally speaking, the stuff looks great.
I mean, even with the touch-ups, if you take away the touch-ups and you go back to like the original,
sure.
83 cut, it's still those special effects still hold up depending on how clean. Because the only thing I would say is don't clean it up too much, just because if you ever notice, there's those little matte paintings that tend to move when you look at like the original, like the original VHS and things like that. Whereas here, obviously, they're able to erase those lines, but that's why you don't like completely and totally HD remaster old film.
Mhm.
Little nuances always get just shown on the screen that really just ruins the shot. I'm looking at you, Halloween. They made the movie too bright when they did the HD remake of the
Yeah.
original, and that ruined the film for me.
All right. I'm still at the PC here. Hang on. I'm going to go to bat for Halloween here. It depends on who's doing the transfer. It absolutely does. I dare you to put in the Scream Factory 4K re-release of Halloween. The blue lighting is still there. It was done right. Money was sunk into it. That bullshit that Lionsgate put out absolutely ruined the movie and the atmosphere in it. Totally agree. But not every transfer is that way. It all depends. Like, there's so many different transfer. I wish Dean was here. He could tell you way more than I could. But like the Star Wars movies have been transferred too, and there are things that held up, and some things didn't hold up. There's moments during the Battle of Hoth and Empire where there are some little things that you can see that aren't supposed to be there. But Halloween, the Lionsgate one, which is I'm assuming the one that you've seen. I know I paid for it when it came out and regretted it because I was just like, what the hell? Scream Factory definitely backed that up. Boutique labels, when they get them and sink the money into them, they're usually done right. And the mainstream shit usually is just something quickly ported over to make a quick buck. Sorry, had to go to bat for Halloween.
Oh no, you're fine. I saw it in theaters when they did a re-release in theaters, so that just made it even worse.
Oh, that was terrible. We seen it right before. Hey, what did we see 78 in? Before 18? So I'd already seen 18 at TIFF. Then we went to see it again opening night, and we seen 78 before that. And I'm watching them, and I don't know. It's just like, this movie does not look good on the big screen right now. Whatever version they were showing, it was not good. Bye, guys.
You know, you always have to love C-3PO being just kind of a little bitch. It's like he's like, I guess no one's home. Let me just tap it lightly.
I mean, can you blame him?
No.
Get that. Yeah, what are you Daddy. Oh, brother. Oh, brother.
That's going to be quite the debate when we finally get to episode 1.
No debate. It's garbage. Should never have been a thing.
I don't disagree with you. Filoni's not going to snooker us with that. Don't put that on the screen.
Oh, so you mean you guys haven't even watched that recently at all?
Watched what?
Episode 1.
Oh no, that's we started with the OG trilogy, and from what it sounds like, we're going to save it for May.
Unfortunately.
Well, that's when it's going to be in theaters.
Damn right. And guess who's getting kidnapped to that shit?
I like the little ninja pop-ups. This is great.
I told you I'm preemptively sick that day. The costuming effects are so amazing.
I mean, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one thing you have to give just them credit for in all 3 movies is like the creature effects and the costumes are so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out how a spineless asshat like Bib Fortuna here actually ended up taking over Jabba's palace after Jabba died. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
And managed to hold the power for as long as he did.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because he ate enough to do it.
He's tried to be as big as Jabba.
He took on the courage, you know? Maybe he ate the competition. I don't know. But that was so like you clearly knew who he was in that scene. You knew who he was,
Mhm.
but it's like, whoa, dude, what happened? Kind of let yourself go a little bit.
Maybe he had a pig roast of some of those Gamorrean guards. Who knows?
I
Yeah.
don't know, but it was a very interesting choice by Filoni and everyone else, because he is not a Hutt. He is not prone to being that big, whereas the Hutts are. But well, he was, as you know.
We were watching the Disney Plus version, Jerry.
I'm
So I
pretty
think
sure that's special edition.
yeah, the most recent retouchings of the special edition. So I think these would be the Blu-rays
Probably.
from when they come out. And midichlorians do suck. They're awful.
Jerry, I'm not here for very long. I'm the little voice you hear in the bottom of the corner of the screen right now. We thank you for the years of support that you've given Fandom Empire, but I only have one reply to your comment.
Wrong. George is wrong.
I love how my closed captioning is in Huttese.
Mine's in English. What?
Well, like when Bib Fortuna is talking to him, I can. It's literally everything he's saying. It's not even translated in English or nothing. It's exactly what he's saying.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna learn a little Huttese today. Though I'm sure if I really wanted to learn it bad enough, I could go online and find a dictionary and just learn all the words, and then really freak some people out.
There was a brief period I went through where I was trying to learn to write in Orabesh.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that real quick. I took a look at myself in the mirror and realized I'm about to become one of those people who talks in Klingon in public, aren't I? That was not a rabbit hole I wanted to go down.
If
Yeah.
I was to learn a Star Wars language from this movie, it would probably be that little monkey bat, salacious crumbs, little laughs. That'd be very funny. That would just creep everyone out.
That'd be pretty entertaining. That's a great party trick. Everybody gets drunk and you just break that out.
Absolutely.
You don't want to learn to speak Ewok?
On top of the creature effects, the droids, the different types of droids they come up with, and their movements and just design all around. I always thought the droids were great.
Do we know what model they are?
It's funny because in other games you've seen them and they've given them a name and their model number and everything, and it's
They look like variations of IG models.
it seems that way.
It's hard to say because, like, droids that look like C-3PO are not always protocol droids.
That's true.
I think astromechs just tend to always be astromechs. Like, that's what they do.
They're all R series, R something. The typical male answer in me is sitting here being like, damn, there's 2 dancers in that scene?
And the musical number we didn't ask for.
What the... I'm now realizing that this reminds me of a Men in Black scene. Like, this feels like something that should be in a Men in Black movie.
Probably, yeah. I can't disagree with that.
Like it feels like the one singing is like that alien in the Men in Black movies that shoots from the beginning of the first movie.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The alien in the Mexican desert or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your flippers up, all of them.
Also, the blue one with the red hair in the background there
Mm-hmm.
looks like Howie Mandel in Little Monsters.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Such an underrated gem of a movie.
It is excellent.
What's interesting is this chick, they fit when they did all these scenes for the special edition and whatnot. They're like, she hasn't aged a day since her first filming in back in the original trilogy when she originally did Return of the Jedi. So they brought her back, got her all painted up as a Twi'lek again, and I mean, it's like, wow, she didn't even age any compared to. I mean, trying to think of how long ago they did. Was it? I think they originally added this scene in what, 97?
Would have been like 10 years for filming, 12 years.
So yeah, I mean, if she was in her 20s, and yeah, still that makes total sense that she wouldn't look like she aged at all. But still,
Can I just point out that like of all of the people in that, cantina, whatever you want to call that, you throw her into the pit, Jabba? Seriously? Pick one of the ugly dudes. Throw them.
I know, right? You keep the Twi'lek at your side, you get rid of the rest.
The annoying droid.
I'm just now realizing that Jabba is feasting on Grogu's favorite food.
Yes, he is.
It's good cash.
I remember when they had the playset come out for Jabba, and it had like a little tank that had like one of those, a little slimy frog in it that you put in, that you just put it in the water. It grew, it kind of ballooned up a little bit, and that's where it stayed. But it was and the only thing, and I mean, the thing is he just sat there. He didn't do much of anything. He moved his arms. That was it. Now the toys, like the newer toys, of Jabba, are like all articulate. You can move his tail, his body, everything. And I'm just like, they just don't make him like they used to. I just remember watching the extras and what they talked about, how many puppeteers it took to bring Jabba to life. It was so impressive to get that many guys in there and all work some different part of his body, whether his mouth, his eyes, tongue. It was so impressive.
And now, right back to the awkward strip club music.
I never knew what Leia was speaking was obese, because that's what it said. That's what it actually said on my screen. Okay, Landa, you didn't have to pull the mask down. We saw your mustache. That's all we need to see to know it was you.
I was going to say, I think at this point, I mean, at that point, we were supposed to figure out the jig is up. There's a plan in motion here.
Yeah.
Unless you didn't.
I mean, R2...
At five, I didn't figure it out. But
well, I mean, you were 5. Let's,
I mean, at 5, I laughed at that frog eating the other frog and belching. So now what's interesting here is if you actually, if you get a chance to pause it, and if you go through a watch through again, those chimes that she just ran into, they're shaped like little Jabbas.
Yeah, Kenny, you're definitely right. The Jabba puppet is better than the CG.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt.
I personally, this is just my preference coming through. I cannot think of an instance of a character that's been both CG and puppet where the puppet is not always better.
For the
I mean,
amount of money and time they sunk into all the gears and electronics put into this thing just to make sure it moves properly, they just don't do these types of special effects like that anymore, and
they
it
really
kills
don't.
me.
They really do. It is sad. Like they
Yeah, I'm
just
not saying we have to do stop motion animation, but
no, but
animatronics and things like that, I'm all for it.
Phil Tippett was a treasure. Just so underrated. The impact that he had on not just Star Wars, but the first Jurassic Park and so many other films.
he was a giant in his field for sure.
I mean, he even worked on Starship Troopers.
He worked on everything, really.
Yeah.
Like anything that was
Anything
in
with a
that
creature that had a real, yeah.
anything with like an animatronic creature, he was there.
Such an iconic laugh.
As if you can't tell from the laugh on.
It's really weird. Like they're just hanging out back there watching.
It's like I'm watching this now, and all I can think of is, oh, this is like an intro to Family Feud. You pull the curtain back, and the families in that, in the tableau behind the curtain, like ah.
Jabba's like, well, I just got rid of my Twi'lek. Let's go for the human. Let's see how this works out.
I mean, I'd say he traded up. But
Yeah, just a little bit.
the ability definitely did not need to show to take the plate off to show who he was. And I don't know if he got robbed of being Harvey Dent. By the time they got to it, it would have been a horrible casting because the movie was horrible.
Yeah, the direction they went after Batman Returns, that I didn't hate Batman Forever, but once it got past that, I was just like, really, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, it was okay-ish. I mean, Val Kilmer wasn't a bad Batman, but
I feel like he made a better Bruce Wayne than did Batman.
he did. But it got too campy and not in a fun way.
Yeah.
Now, granted, and Robin, they took the camp to the nth level.
Just a wee bit.
Did both of you guys watch Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Did Max Rebo end up getting killed when the Pikes bombed the cantina?
I don't remember.
Nope, he's alive.
I googled it and I got reminded about that. They didn't leave it like ambiguous.
Nope, he's good. He's still alive.
Everyone's favorite blue elephant dude.
So as a kid, I didn't understand what Luke did to the Gamorrean guards, and as I got older, I'm like, that son of a bitch is using force choke on these guys, even though it's not to kill them. But damn, he's just walking in like, I'm a badass now.
He's a loose cannon. Don't you know he's the last Jedi? Plus like 20.
You're just trying to provoke Johnny right now, aren't you?
This is the return of the Jedi, because he is the last Jedi.
I will say, when you look at the original trilogy, I love the change in demeanor. I love the growth that they showed over the year, like the years that span between these three movies. It just made you feel like, Luke was finally becoming who he was supposed to be, and I really enjoyed that.
And then they screwed it up.
It's almost like Jabba's a Toydarian. Jedi mind tricks don't work on me, only money. I mean, that's pretty much what it seems like. He's like weak-minded fool.
Jabba's a Toydarian. He's a really big Toydarian.
I mean, it would make sense though. They are, of sort of similar species. That it would make sense that the Munchuk wouldn't work on them.
Where's his wings?
I said similar, not same.
He ate them. He fried them up and ate them.
Where's his snouty elephant style nose?
Okay, they're both of the green and slimy genre. How about that?
That works.
I mean, Watto is kind of more blue.
It's greenish. Close enough.
All right.
Rewatching this film as an adult, you sort of have that explains so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say nothing else and let you guys infer from that what you like.
Why didn't Luke just make a second lightsaber?
I mean, the one that R2's carrying around? I mean, that's the only. I mean, it's the only one. He does. I mean,
because he only had access to one other Kyber crystal that we know of.
I'm currently watching an ad for Taco Bell. What are you guys watching?
I'm watching the Rancor come on out.
Oh, poor Gamorrean.
Another just amazing puppet.
Yeah. They remind me of like something that should be in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they explained it in the making of, where it's just the puppet the entire time, even a small Gamorrean guard, and just the way they're turning the neck, it makes it look like he's swallowing it whole, which I thought was just really adds to it.
It's amazing editing work. I'm now wondering what the hell he ate that created a bone that large. Like, that's like a rancor-sized bone.
Maybe he fed it banthas. Banthas are pretty big bones.
I guess a bantha would be about that size. I find it very hard to believe that the bite force of a rancor isn't stronger than that bone. Immediately. Like, it takes so long for him to, you know what I mean? Like,
it could be one of those things where it just surprised it. Wasn't expecting it.
I guess.
What minutes are you guys at? Like, runtime right
we are
now?
at 27 minutes exactly.
Oh, went too far. All right, 27:10 is good.
Yeah, you're a second ahead.
We'll say I was pretty impressed that a stone just hurt the nail, so it would kind of rear back. Never really paid attention to that before. I never knew Luke was left-handed.
Wow, you're right. I never noticed that either.
What's interesting is when you watch the Rancor trainer react that way, you don't understand it at first. You're just like, oh, whatever. But then when you see like Book of Boba Fett and how
you learn about the connection. And...
Mm-hmm. and now it makes this scene have a little more emotional punch to it because they had that special connection.
It is definitely great to have you, Travis. If you're just joining in now, we are at 28:50. That lighting does not do good things for Chewie.
And of course, it's that one plot point about the Sarlacc that they obviously used to help create the Book of Boba Fett.
Nobody is Team Midichlorian. Stop that.
Okay, the CG sand there just does not look good.
That sand does not look like it's coarse or rough. That
And it definitely
sand
doesn't get anywhere.
looks like MS Paint.
That is very awful sand work. You don't want to be on Team Midichlorians, Travis. Nobody wants to be on Team Midichlorians. They don't have cookies.
I thought Grogu gets
Wrong about
hot
that.
chocolate and cookies.
I mean, Han was half right. When he says you're going to die there. He didn't die on Tatooine, but he did die on a sand planet. Or
What?
at least we think he died on a sand planet. The galaxy thinks he dies on a sand planet.
What? Okay.
What was the assumption that Kylo killed him to the galaxy at large?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. They didn't need to do that for the Sarlacc, but is what it is.
What, the tongue?
Well, you doing a whole CG thing of this is what it technically looks like underneath.
Team Fandom Empire is bring your own snacks.
Yeah, a little late for snacks for me, but I'm getting old. Late night snacking, that's no way to live. I always think about the Family Guy rendition of this scene where the went on like 10 times, 20, like 15 times.
But I mean, the musical cues were spot on. I mean, that's just great work by John Williams. God, I remember as a kid watching this scene and just getting all excited watching Luke just do crazy shit that I never seen him do before. Did Lando just hit the dude with his helmet?
Yes.
It looks flimsy, but I guess it's stronger than it looks. The force kick. If you slow it down, you just see him completely whiff, and the dude just getting knocked on his ass.
One of the things that irrationally bugs me about the original trilogy is you hear Han Solo's name pronounced two different ways.
I actually love it.
You
Because
love
it
that?
just-
Why do you love that?
Well,
Why
because
is that
they
something
well, like
you love?
with Lando, it was just that show of that kind of that rivalry they had, where he would
Yeah.
just intentionally say his name wrong.
I think it's just that Billy D said his name wrong, and they just decided to not reshoot.
I mean, I don't know. I think once they made it like once they continued the theme in Solo, with Donald Glover,
Mm-hmm.
they sort of made it a thing that you know.
Because no matter how many times you went to correct him, it's like it's Han. It's like hold on their hand, and it's like it's Han.
Mhm.
It's like it really did help kind of show the rivalry they were starting to have, and I thought that was great.
It was Lando's little way of like sticking it to him without actually
Mm-hmm.
sticking it to him. Like, I won't say your name properly.
And they really shouldn't have changed the line Han's about to say. They go from that 2 sentence thing from just trust me. I mean,
It's such a more Han thing to say too.
uh-huh. Exactly.
If there's one character that all of the editing George did not help at any point, it's Han.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few scenes where you're just kind of like, that doesn't work.
It's like some of the changes that he's made over the years, I can live with and actually enjoy because they're sort of, well, that was the original vision. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
always envisioned. Like when they added all the stormtroopers in the Vader scene,
Mm-hmm.
I always envisioned it as like a full battalion. Like, okay, that's fine. Other changes like that, but then you change actual, or like you add in the Hans or the Jabba scene. Okay, but then you go changing scenes that you did the first time through, and it's like, well, in my head, this was how it always happened. And it's like, so then why didn't it happen that way? It's not a technical change. It's not an addition. That the technology has gotten better that you can do these things now. If
Right.
Han was always meant to shoot second, why didn't he shoot second in the first place?
I mean, a simple, move. What you could have done is he could have seen him go to raise his blaster, and he could literally just kicked out to
Mm,
kind of make him miss his shot, and then he just pulls his blaster. It's not that hard to change that scene to still make Han feel like Han,
mhm.
and the whole neck jerk thing bullshit that they did that was so stupid.
Yeah.
Look at me, I have the force. Because you'd have to dodge a blaster bolt that fast, that close.
It's always stuck with me. I love the contrast of the guards in red.
Yeah,
It
it's just one of
stands
the,
out so much more.
it tells you like these are like the elite of the
Mhm.
elite. And this is how you knew shit got real on the Death Star. Palpatine shows up and it's like, yeah, we're gonna fix this shit. I will say the makeup work they did to make Ian McDiarmid look really old and haggard as the Emperor was really well done. Obviously, by the time the prequels and sequel trilogy came around, he was old enough to where he didn't need a whole lot of makeup.
No, but like you said, it is a testament though to their ability.
Mm-hmm.
They could do such a thing that, like, until I was, much older in age, I was positive there was no way it was the same person in the prequel trilogy, because, like, that's not possible.
But it is.
Exactly, and it's like,
So, crappy take. What was the point of this?
Pure exposition.
I guess.
I think part of it's exposition. I think to some degree it was Luke coming back, fulfilling his promise that he would come back and complete his training. But Yoda's like, dude, deuces. It's
I'm too old for this.
You know all you need to know. I'm too old for this shit. I'm out.
There's all of those things, but let's be clear. The real reason is merchandising.
Well, yeah, you got to figure kids who have watched Empire Strikes Back are gonna be like, "Where's Yoda?" Of course, kids who watch Empire Strikes Back were probably.
Well, we just say, "Where's Obi-Wan?" I'm sorry, where's Ben? He ain't there.
He's there at the end.
Fun fact: back in '83, my uncle decided to put on a little cosplay before cosplay was huge, where he got a bunch of his friends dressed up. He was Luke Skywalker. He had his tall friends be Vader. They took like broomsticks, painted them to make them look like lightsabers, and they had me follow behind them as Yoda. He gave me a Yoda mask. My mom made the robes and everything at the age of 5.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, it's adorable.
But it works because I was so damn short at 5 that it matched. Now, the way he asked me to do it was terrifying. He woke me up. He had the Yoda mask on, and he was about 2 inches from my face when he woke me up. If that's not a way to terrify a little kid, nothing is.
Okay, the important question, though, and I feel like this is one the entire audience has to know, is: did you recreate the backpack scene? And are there photos?
There are photos, but there are not photos of the backpack scene being recreated.
Oh. At least we know it was done. Or did you recreate it? Like, there's no photos, but did you actually do it? Did
No.
you ride him like a backpack?
That's the funny thing. I don't even think he even thought about it. I mean, the thing is I was light enough and young enough that it would have worked, but that's a missed opportunity on him, not me.
That's fair.
That would have been kind of funny though to see a picture of that. I would have been like, "Wow, we actually did do that? Damn."
How much of that hair you think is growing out of his ears?
I mean,
hey man, as you get older, your hair is a real concern.
Dude's 900 years old. I can't even imagine like trying to tame that beast.
I've seen people in their 70s that have ear hair that come out like 6 inches. Leave Yoda alone. He's 900. And he lives on a swamp.
He probably needs that shit just to keep the bugs out of his ears.
Based on what we know about him, he probably
the powers of
so
the
he can eat
Emperor.
them.
He kicked my ass. Liar. But what about Ezra Bridger?
Well, I mean, by this point, Ezra's still in the deep, dark reaches of the unknown.
And don't mean he don't exist. Is that the boundary of Yoda's force abilities? He can't sense out that far.
You also have to figure he chose Dagobah because it radiates with the dark side of the Force, so it probably does kind of block him to some degree when he tries to use the Force.
And I mean, let's not we talk about all these other Jedi, but I don't think there's any other who have completed their training.
Probably
Luke sure as
not.
hell did not.
Well, and I know it's a brief.
He sure as hell.
Obviously, but he's done enough. Like, he completed his training as far as he could.
Not as much as the others. And they spend it in the newer canon material. He's basically piecing it together as he goes along.
Well, he's always pieced it together from texts and holocrons and things like that, right up to his fighting style. I think if I remember correctly, he specifically uses fifth form for the most part, but he combines all of them. He doesn't just use, he uses parts of all of it, but for the most part, he's predominantly fifth form.
I don't know what it is about Ben in this particular scene, but his hair looks so awful.
From a certain point of view. Yeah, we all know that chestnut.
At this point, you're just making excuses, old man.
Isn't that actually the line in the Family Guy special when he says from a certain point of view?
Probably. They did such a great job with that. I love the Star Wars episodes of Family Guy.
I still have them on DVD, I think.
I do too.
I don't think I do. I think I stopped collecting the DVDs by that point.
So I was working my first job. I was at Walmart, and I decided I'm going to buy myself a little treat. So I bought the box set trilogy many moons back. And that was a good treat. They have served me well. Like I said, I just love in that opening scene on the sandbarge. All the the wah, and they're all doing like the head thing. You got everything, including Meg as the Sarlacc.
Yeah. I think from the first one for Blue Harvest, I always laugh when Chris is like, they're coming too fast, and Peter's like, if I had a nickel for every time that's happened, just keep firing, Luke. And then it's like, oh, I got one. Yeah, great. Don't get penisy. And I'm just like, yep, there we go. There's the Family Guy twist I'm loving. Now, this is probably the largest we've seen their Starfleet, isn't it? Their whole fleet
of the Rebel fleet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the first time we've ever actually seen.
Because I mean, I know we saw bits and pieces here and there, like especially like when they're escaping Hoth and things like that. But I mean, like in just flat out space, it's just like I was blown away by how many ships they had. I still feel like Wedge never gets his due in any of the movies. He's the best pilot that doesn't use the Force, and he survives everything.
Yeah. The look on her face when she says that is so awkward.
What minute are we at?
49:55.
Well, it's like she's trying to show empathy for all those Bothans that died, but yet it's just like, am I saying it right? Do I look right when I say it? I want to show that compassion, but I'm not showing compassion. I'm sure my face looked like I just tasted butt. I can see Wedge in the background going, I got this. I've done this shit before. And they're cutting to Lando, and it's just Wedge is probably like, damn it, stop focusing on these guys.
I think he's more like, how is Lando in control here?
I remember in the game Dark Forces, you actually had to go and rescue this dude here, Crix Madine. There's like some alone time on a forest moon.
Just gonna let Princess Leia just go on a, recon mission. No biggie. No biggie.
Well, at least she didn't try to give him an awkward kiss this time.
One of the last surviving, people, especially the leader of her people. No biggie.
See, this scene confused me a little bit because I know Lando knows everything about the Falcon, but Han's like trying to push it on him, and he's just like thinking, I can almost see in his head, he's like, dude, I know the ship. I know the ship. It's okay. Okay, I'll take it. Damn, just shut up.
It's the one scene that Solo sort of ruined a little because he should have been much more excited to get his ship back.
True. I mean, I know he had like different ships in like video game canon. I think one of them was called the Queen's Gambit. That was kind of a neat looking ship, but still.
I'm not entirely certain that the Queen's Gambit is.
Wasn't the Queen Gambit's one of Oh wow! I can't believe I'm trying.
I think that's a canon name from the original trilogy. I don't think it's on screen, but I think like supplemental material names it.
Because there was one of the, I can't remember, was it Jedi Outcast, I think, is when you run into Lando and he's trying, you got to protect him while he gets the Queen's Gambit up and running. I think that's the mission.
I gotta do a run through of Jedi Outcast. I haven't done it in many, 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 many years. I don't even, I don't even know if I've ever finished the game from start to finish.
The San took a while to beat because
Jedi Outcast was a little more difficult than Jedi Knight Academy.
That's because they perfected their lightsaber combat by Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
There was and of course the problem with those games is the port over to a console. The controls are set for PC players, so it's very herky-jerky. You have to really mess with the controls to get it to feel natural with the controllers you're using.
Have you played it on the Switch?
Yep, I have it on the Switch. I have, because I got both games came on the Switch as a package. I had actually bought. Sean had asked me to do a review on Jedi Outcast, so I went and I bought that on my PS4 at the time, and the controls were just god awful. They just did not translate well to a PS4 controller, and I had to really mess with those controls just to get it to feel even somewhat normal. Fly casual.
So I just looked it up because they're supposed to be putting out a remaster of Dark Forces, the original
Mhm.
one. That's also going to be on the Switch and all the modern consoles. I would have hoped it would have been out by now, but I guess not the case.
I think it's relatively soon.
Geez, Tommy, tell us you don't watch our show without telling us you don't watch our show.
I watch what I can when I can. Oh, okay. February 28th. There we go.
That's what I said, relatively soon. You know, Vader's got to be sitting there going, no way, he's coming to me already? Well, the Emperor was right. The look on Luke's face is going, that should not have happened. He's thinking we should be freaking space dust right now. Oh, well.
Darth Vader doesn't take the easy way out, except when he does.
Just think you can go to California and walk around in the redwood forest and be like, yep, this is where they filmed. This tree looks like this tree, and this is here, and
I would have put a plaque in front of the tree that the stormtrooper drives into.
that'd be amazing. Stormtrooper TK421 died here. Han being Han, you love it. I mean, out of all the characters, even though Han did have growth through the trilogy, he still stayed the same regardless. Two speeder scouts just sitting there just talking like blaster fire. What's that? Should we just sit here and wait and see what happens? Sure, let's just sit here and see what happens.
Han is always that rogue in the party that always runs out first, and you're like, why did we let him go first?
And then you ask that question, how are you still alive?
That's afterwards. That's after you all successfully leave the mission.
Pretty much. And of course, this was pod racing before there was pod racing. What really surprised me about this is like some of the shots and scenes they did with this were puppets. It blows me away that they did puppet work with some of this stuff.
Damn it, fell into the speed trap.
And here's a life lesson, kids. Always keep your eyes on the road. If this was your scene and you were doing this, what music would be playing through your head as you do this?
Highway to the danger zone.
Very 80s of you.
I'm also very certain that this song that this scene predates that song by a few years.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3
I
years.
tried to keep it correct era.
I mean, for me, it's Footloose.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally yanking your chain. It's probably like St. Elmo's Fire.
I'll do like Back in Black by AC/DC.
Excellent choice.
I mean, because Luke's wearing all black anyways, you might as well go for it.
Thunderstruck.
Oh, yes. I mean, you can even go to Bon Scott, AC/DC, and do Big Balls. Because it takes
All right,
big
guys,
balls
I
to do a
think
speeder
I'm
bike.
gonna jet. I think it's bedtime.
Well, Tommy, it's been great having you with us for this first hour and change of them. I'm a little bit, scratched my beardy. Tommy's leaving right as the Ewoks show up. Coincidence?
You can
I
read
think
into that as
not.
you will. You can read into that as you will.
I'm gonna do a lot of reading into that. But no, I mean, I'm happy you could join us. Fill in that void Sean left that he popped into quite a few times throughout the course of the first hour here. But thanks for joining us, Tommy. Where can they find you?
We're talking about on Tuesdays a little more, honestly.
Yeah?
Maybe around the chat, maybe not. We'll see. Some stuff's in the works, trying to get my schedule changed so I'm a little more available lately.
Well, all right, then. I look forward to seeing where those breadcrumbs lead.
No, I know you got to go, Tommy. And I know you got to go, Tommy.
I just
but
gave you like a half chicken cutlet. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
What?
So quick question for you, Tommy, before you go. When was the first time you actually watched Return of the Jedi, and what was your experience as that for your first time?
So I'm sure I've said this story on the channel many times in the past, but I always love revisiting it. There's been a story passed down in my family that I borrowed my cousin's special editions, VHS box set, and that I wore them out.
I mean, I don't blame you.
So I must have had like a hyper fixation on them or something. I would have been like maybe 4 years old at 5 years. That's like the youngest I can remember. So in those younger, single digits. younger to mid single digits. Well, what was my experience? Dude, I don't freaking know. I don't remember. But I do remember, like, oh wow, 21st Century Fox. Oh, it's got the spotlights. Oh, it's Fox. Is it going to be Star Wars? A long time ago, yeah, and that's how you know. Like Johnny said
Oh
earlier,
yeah.
you're in for a great time.
Oh yeah, I remember that every time. Just watching on cable TV, it'd come if it was that time of year, because like whether it was USA or Sci-Fi at the time when I was younger, it wasn't always TBS and TNT and all that stuff. So with those, it was always like it's that time of year. Am I going to get to see? There it is. There's Fox. There it is. There's the long time ago. Yep, I'm just gonna sit right down and watch.
I always Star Wars to this day remains my favorite movies, my favorite franchise, and it will always occupy that space. I'm sure. It's yeah, ever like I've always said, people, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan because I got started early.
That's the best. That's the best way to do it. Is start early.
And we get new Bad Batch tomorrow, even though not everyone's a big fan of that.
That's why I
Sean,
say. That's why I say next week you need to come on and we can talk about the first 3 episodes and watch these two kind of just shake their head and be like, "Did you two just shut up already?"
all right. Well, it's time for me to head to bed. Looks like Johnny has returned.
Indeed, I had to pull the e-brake and run to the bathroom.
Gotcha. Y'all have a nice evening.
Night,
Yeah,
Tommy.
you too. That really would be a hell of a view.
It'd get old pretty quick, though.
Depending on, can you can you imagine him just like, you know what? I want to look at this star today. Let's turn the Death Star for me so I can see out the window to look at this. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to see the surface of the moon today. Rotate 25 degrees west.
Why? Because Palpatine would do something like that. They should do a cut of the movie where you get Vader's thought bubbles, where what he's thinking every time he's talking to Palpatine.
Oh, brother.
As you wish, you old prick. That is the only acceptable addition to the OT that the OT I would ever accept. Vader thought bubbles. Because I mean, he is the man of 1,000 faces. You know, he just has the one look, and that's it. Is it just me that some of the shots they have with Chewie make it look like he got a damn haircut?
A little.
Because like they had the camera shot looking up at him, and because the way they had the hair kind of groomed on the mask, it looked like he just had a haircut.
I noticed that often in was it in episode 5, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. I like how all R2 does is cut one little piece and then the damn thing just falls apart.
I'm more in the why exactly did the Ewoks wait until after they had escaped the net before they all came out?
I mean, they're primitive, so maybe they were just being cautious of what they caught because it was a rather large payload.
I mean, that's true. They are very primitive. I mean, they did think that C-3PO was God.
And I get it. They're created to sell toys, but can you imagine if they really went with their original idea and it was a moon full of Wookiees?
I mean, obviously, if they'd have done that, it would have been Kashyyyk, not Endor. But I mean,
Probably.
thematically, it would have worked out, I guess. Or I suppose they could have leaned into it still could have been Endor, but this could have been like a lost tribe of Wookiees that had escaped the Imperial slavers or something.
I mean, I could see that.
Hello, I think. I love how Luke's just like, you can't be serious.
I'm curious what R2 thinks because you just see beat B for R2, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm thinking R2 is probably just laughing. I'm like, yeah, right.
Are you kidding? It's R2. It's more like, this asshole.
More than likely. Though the only one that would probably top R2 in terms of having a filthy ass mouth would be Chopper.
If Chopper was in this instance, you would definitely be seeing somebody trying to convince him not to commit a mass genocide.
Pretty much.
No, you can't kill them all.
It's like, how many war crimes has he committed? We don't get into that too much.
He's committed so many, Chopper has honorary Canadian citizenship.
Damn. So instead of blame Canada, it's blame Chopper.
Yep.
As you see the low gray white waving around the lightsaber, like, just don't push this button and you're good. Like that meme where you see Luke looking down the barrel of the lightsaber the first time he's looking at it, and they show it being ignited. I could see that an Ewok actually doing that to themselves. I can see it now. They're just probably, why would we do that? We haven't had good eats like this in a long time.
It's another one of those instances there where you can definitely see the Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford,
Mm-hmm.
where he's trying to blow out the torch.
Yep.
You know, Archie was just dying of laughter inside right now.
He just thinks this is the best thing ever. He's just like, I am living my best life right now.
It doesn't get any better than it. Damn it, you knocked me over.
This is what happens when you knock me over. I was enjoying the view, watching him make an ass out of himself. C-3PO was like, man, I did that. That was me. Wow.
I can fly. I really wish I spoke Ewok so that I could know exactly how 3PO was making himself the savior in this story.
I can see the thought process for Han right there. He's like, oh, yeah, she's cuddling up to me. This is great. The fuck is rubbing up on my thigh?
I feel like he's gotten drunk with Chewie enough that he had an idea of what it was.
You're probably not wrong.
His thought process is probably, Chewie, not now.
That's like a great way to sell toys right there. It's like, look, they're big, they're cuddly. Even Han wanted one. Now you too can own your very own Ewok. Like, I'm trying, asshole. Would you stop interrupting me?
Well, I mean, Zach, of course, it's the weakest of the original trilogy when you're competing against one of the greatest films of all time and Empire. No, I'm kidding. But when you're competing against Empire and 4, it's kind of hard to not be the third best. Yikes, Zach. That's a. I think that takes a little too hot for me. It's mid. It's middle 3 for sure. I mean, it's probably 5, 3, 4, 7, 6.
You could just go back and rewatch our rankings.
You absolutely could do that, but I'm trying to figure it out offhand. But
I'm sure I have it written down here somewhere where my rankings were. Because I remember for me, Jedi was in my top 5. But that's because of the special place it held in my heart as a kid at Christmas, watching like Christmas Eve. I would literally pull out the VHS and just watch it over and over again until I fell asleep finally. And eventually I broke it. And luckily I bought the special editions after that, but still.
I mean, you got 1 and 2 ranked too damn high, Zach. I'm sorry, pal, but just too damn high.
I like how that they didn't even bring up anything, but when the line here, she's like, somehow I've always known. And it's like, and of course you think about it, you go,
Why did you kiss me?
exactly. It's like you pump the brakes, like, wait a minute. If you've always known.
Or maybe that's how she figured it out. Because, it felt like kissing her brother. Because, that makes sense.
That's one way to do it.
That's called Ozark ancestry.
I'm going to go back to the future here. Back to the future here. Feels like I'm kissing my brother. It's like, And out of all the people that I would assume wouldn't be insecure, and Han's like all insecure and jealous here of Luke, and I'm like, why?
Well, I mean, he did see them make out once.
I'm sure these two have more than just made out. We don't see everything that happened on Cloud City.
Well, hey, now, I mean, Han's a sophisticated old. Han has been hurt too many times. Okay, all he has to do is think about Kira, and like, everything is just like, oh, not again.
I'm trying to think. Did you read like the comic series they did, like the short Han Solo series they put out? So I think there was it's set between A New Hope and Empire, and Han hasn't fully grasped the idea of becoming a part of the Rebel Alliance. So he's off on his own, still doing his own things, and I think he ran into an old flame during that. I'd have to pull the comics out and reread them for sure.
Yeah, I haven't really read much of the comic run. I read most of the Vader series when it came out, but very, very little of some of the other stuff.
Yeah, some of them have good insight in terms of the character, and others I think are just there to make money.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, you could say that about most things, though.
But like when they did the last Padawan series with Kanan, I was like, okay, that gives me insight on like my favorite character from Rebels. But the Vader series, that's one thing I like about. That's why I made the comment about thought bubbles, because at least with the comics, you're getting an idea of exactly what he's thinking, what he's feeling, with his thought process. And then you really find out just how dangerous he really is, and that how watered down he is by Return of the Jedi. Because everything leading up to Empire, he was just a nasty piece of work. And then he found out he had a kid, and that all changed. I had that lightsaber right over there. I was actually lucky enough to win it in an auction off of eBay for only $60, considering how much Force Effects lightsabers cost nowadays.
Not mad at all.
I've also never thought about it before, but they did a really good job of making you feel like you're on Endor, but that the Empire did construct something like the lighting and everything. Just it doesn't detract from the fact that they're on a moon
Yeah,
in a
you still feel
forest.
like you're on a forest moon, even though it has
Hmm.
sort of been industrialized in this particular location. I would say this scene does a much better job of that. When we see it again later,
Hmm.
when they actually attack it, it definitely doesn't look as well blended to the natural environment, I guess.
And I will say, Battlefront 2, the newer one, did a fairly decent job of how they created Endor and the different types of shading they
Yeah,
use to kind of give that overcast, like just the light kind of poking through the trees and things like that. And you had the artificial light from the structures. That was actually really well done.
that's true.
Imagine that, a proper crew on the Falcon where there's actually enough people to operate the whole damn thing.
That's never happened. No, the shortest offensive of all time was the Battle of Scarif.
Yeah, pretty much. I like how the body language of the Ewoks, it's like they're like little, they actually treat them like little kids, and it's like, look, 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 it's right here, and like bouncing up and down like a little kid, like, look what I found. But I guess if considering how primitive the species is, I guess I can see that them being
Yeah.
excited.
Well, how so? I mean, the Empire should absolutely know about this forest species indigenous to the planet. I'm sure it's not the first time they've done something like this.
The look on Leia's face was like, "Damn, Han, chill." She's all wide-eyed looking at him, like, "Okay."
This is one that it's sort of just like Hank was. How is the Ewok able to get it going that fast when he cannot reach the pedal?
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
Oh,
It's like, wait, I've seen that somewhere before. Only Han ran away when that happened to him.
it's the opposite now. He gets to be on the other side of that one. Last time this happened, I was the one running into a trap. Ha ha ha!
Wasn't it in Robot Chicken when they did one of their Star Wars episodes? Palpatine's chair just went all haywire and shit on him as
Yes.
he's turned.
It started like spinning around in circles.
I thought that was great.
Well, you got a few decades left to go, Luke. And spoiler alert, he's actually going to outlive you.
Don't you? Can you imagine Luke just a Force Ghost going, wait, what?
Hold on a minute.
Son of a bitch.
That guy outlived me? You know that him and Anakin and Obi-Wan are all sitting together in Force Ghostville, and they're like, yeah, he's like a cockroach. He does that.
I could see Yoda in the background. Warned you I did. I love how Palpatine's already started with the mind games to try to just beat Luke down and make him give in to his emotions. I love that little chess match he's playing with him.
Oh, very much so.
How deep down is that? Are they dug into that place? If that dude just fell, or like it seemed like a far distance.
I love how each of the units has like their own independent look as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you kind of have to. We can't be Poe Dameron in a black X-wing being, look at me, I'm Poe Dameron, I'm where I am, who I am at all times, versus at least everybody else here is like, okay, we have an X-wing unit, you can't tell who's who, good, don't know who our leader is, perfect. The classic line.
He said the line.
Can you imagine that guy at a con? Everybody's just sitting there going, say the line, say the line. He's trying like, it's a trap.
Did the interior of that room change?
I think there were always windows similar to that
Not
around.
not so much that, but like the location of Palpatine's throne in relation to that window. Because like when they first came into the room, it was up like on an elevated platform.
And it might still be, but I would need to see it.
When they did that last shot, when they pulled away and saw Luke and Vader on opposite sides, it was flush with the consoles.
I'm just curious if he has that one window behind him that we'd seen him sitting at the entire time, or Palpatine just has many rooms where he's just like, "Yep, this is my observation deck here for this side of the Death Star. This is my one for over here on this side of the Death Star." I got to give Ian McDiarmid credit. I mean, with his portrayal of Palpatine in this, he gives off that a sinister, dangerous, arrogant vibe that is so amazing when you think about it, because it's all in the way he delivers the words, and you can understand why Luke eventually wants to try to kick his ass and strike him down.
That was one of those changes there in that you sort of like, why did we need to do that? That the walker walking in the background when they first came out, like, why?
It's funny to think. I can almost see Logray in the background going, "Yes, yes, kill them. We'll eat well tonight." It's like that, come to that realization where like, "Oh, look at the Ewoks. They're so cute. They're defending their turf." And I'm like, it's like, you do realize they're cannibals, right? They're hunting right now. They're not defending their turf.
Well, I mean,
To some degree,
it's
they
A
are.
and B. Yes, let's defend our territory, but also these guys look tasty.
As a kid, you don't even think about it when you see all the different stormtrooper helmets as they're beating on them. And as an adult, you're going, "Wait a minute."
As a child, it's just like, oh, okay, they took them after they beat them. Then as an adult, it's like, where did all this food come from?
Everybody's enjoying the feast, guys.
What are
are
they
you doing?
feasting on? At that point, I feel like I would just like go with that rope. Like, no.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. I got this. Knock yourself out. R2's like, "I've been doing this for a long time, so don't you tell me about heroics."
I know when the tide is turning. I always more was in like this primitive species understands the science of trebuchets.
Apparently so.
That's some pretty good math. What?
And of course, as a kid, since I actually owned the Millennium Falcon, I'm like, wait a minute, where were these guns on this ship? All I had were the turbo lasers on this thing. Where's the actual front cannons?
I literally saw this thing blow up a planet once. What do you mean?
See, I'm glad they kind of when Palpatine said it, he says that this operational battle station. He didn't say the full
Yeah,
power
it's not completed.
because I'd have been like, "That's it. That's the full power here. You can destroy a big starship."
The,
Okay.
f- the first Death Star literally blew up a planet. This one can't even blow up a ship. I love how Han's just like straight up using R2 as a shield while he's trying to hack open the door. Like,
It makes you wonder if with Kenny Baker inside R2, if they're like, okay, when we tell you, just push all these levers, and everything's just gonna spit out.
that's better. Want to bet?
That moment when he's like, I am defenseless, and I'm just like, if any smart person would be like, you lead all these people, they are afraid of you. You are far from defenseless.
I am barely trained and I can use the Force to move things with my mind. What can you do? Hello?
Yeet. Ewoks were like, ooh, buttons.
I love how Chewie's just like, "What are you doing?" I'll just leave that thought in the vault of my brain.
I like how the Ewoks learning how to use a blaster. That's great. I'm impressed the dude still had a head after that. So when did they have time to set up all these traps?
Brandy, don't ask questions like that. I don't got it.
It's like one of the few times you actually see a hero get hurt.
You really notice until now just how awkward it is that Han actually has blood on his fingers? I don't know how, but it manages to actually feel out of place in a Star Wars movie. Of course he has.
Mm-hmm.
He has the high ground.
Indeed, he does. And Vader's like, listen to me, you little shit. I am not going to give up the high ground.
He's got the high ground again, Anakin.
I will not
He
give up the high
keeps
ground.
going higher.
There is no conflict. You have the fucking high ground.
Yeah, now you're pissing me off, kid.
Get your ass down here.
I've learned how to take away the high ground. See, that's your first mistake, Vader. You gave up the high ground. You
Mm-hmm.
finally had it, and you gave it up.
Now, when I was a kid, I didn't realize this at first, But Harrison Ford in a helmet telling I literally was just like, as I got older, went, wait, oh, so that was Han's idea. I got you. Impersonate one of them.
See, I remember like as a kid thinking like his plan was going to be, we're just going to blow the door down.
Yeah.
It's a very long game of hide and go seek when you think about it.
Very true. But I will say I really enjoyed this particular duel because even though for the original trilogy it was kind of the peak of what you would get out of a lightsaber duel, it was very emotionally charged, and you just got that feeling that things were just escalating to that ultimate crescendo that we got to see at the end, and it's just so well done.
Oh, absolutely.
I like how it's just like, it's like, if we just learn that Leia is your sister, and she just learns it, and all of a sudden you just have these amazingly strong feelings for her that you always had that we won't get into.
See, I feel like this is one of those moments where it's like you're implying Vader's just finding out about Leia, and
Yeah.
that it's his sister. Like that's your daughter, and that's your response. Like what?
But also, this is that moment where Luke tiptoed over that line from the light side to the dark side.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, you've never seen Vader back up ever.
Not like that.
No. Luke can be like, I didn't go to the dark side. I just broke out the Vapod saber style. And yeah, that's it. Mace Windu used it all the time.
I didn't go to the dark side. I'm my father's son. Oh no, this fake hand is evil. Exactly, does that scene make you think differently about Luke throwing the lightsaber in the sequel trilogy?
No, because I think it was a way it was a way for him to show that he would never be turned. Whereas in The Last Jedi, it was just like, whatever.
If that isn't an awkward laugh, I don't know what is.
What I always found interesting is that Palpatine's arrogance is so strong that he would completely overlook a primitive species that could end up helping the rebels. You just
And
go in
yet
and you
it's so appropriately Palpatine.
exactly. Oh, what's the report on this moon? Primitives. Okay. Meat eaters. Don't speak English. We're good.
I find myself wondering back in hindsight, why did Vader not just give him the old, oh, I could so live without never hearing that again.
Yeah, that they didn't need to add that.
But like, why didn't Vader just skewer him with the lightsaber?
That's a very good question. But apparently, more dramatic this way, I guess.
I feel like that would have been better, right? Like you see Palpatine just going to town on Luke with the electricity, and then all of a sudden his face just like his eyes shoot open, and the camera pans out, and you see the lightsaber sticking through his chest. Like, wouldn't that have been such a better shot?
In today the way they do it, yeah, it works beautifully. But back then, obviously, you're keeping it PG, you're keeping it kiddie friendly to the point of where you're thinking you don't need to show that sort of thing. And I think it's just something that they did for in terms of the era and how they created the PG films back then.
I mean, you could have done it without showing the saber, though. I mean,
True,
with
very
eyes
true.
shooting open, and then you just hear the sound of the saber deigniting.
Well, and you could even show like the red hue, but not show the lightsaber
Yeah,
protruding from the chest.
and then like as he sort of falls to the ground, then you see the lightsaber in Vader's hand. Like, you know, you can put two and two together and come up with four.
Yep, Han's gonna be pissed.
I love the use of additional types of ties in this,
Mm-hmm.
and the A-wing. I love the A-wing.
I also like how you get to learn how to take down a star destroyer in this. Just take out the towers, and then all their shields are gone. The look, the look on his face is priceless. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Right? And yet he's still doing it 30 years later.
It's interesting. As a kid, I never understood what why Vader died and things like that. But then as I got older, I realized I was like, oh yeah, Palpatine just pretty much shorted everything out in his damn suit.
Yeah, that's a. I just chalked it up to, every other Jedi died because they just gave up on life.
But yeah, because when you watch the Force lightning kind of wrap around his body, you see light up his skull, and I'm just going. So basically, Palpatine's Force lightning just shorted out Vader's suit, which is keeping him alive. So he's going to die. And of course, as a kid, first time seeing Vader without his helmet, I was like, if that ain't the gnarliest looking thing I've ever seen. All the scarring and everything that's on his head and face. And now, when you go back to the prequel trilogy and read up on the prophecy, Anakin did bring balance to the Force, just in a very different way.
I'm sort of amused by this. He's already on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the retractable runway. Like,
Yeah. Doing this battle in Super Return of the Jedi on SNES, dude, it was a pain in the ass because you had to do as you're flying out like this, you had to dodge everything, keep your speed up, and not get enveloped by the explosion coming from behind you. I died so many times because I hit the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it caught and it overtook me, and I was like, "Damn it!" Ewoks are looking up, going, "Ooh, fireworks!"
bright lights. I know.
It's that moment when you're watching it for the first time. You're going, "Wait, Leia could be a Jedi too."
What? Huh?
She's thinking back to all the times she kissed him. Probably, he's like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute," and then it sinks in. I win. And of course, thinking back to episode 1, when they send Qui-Gon off this way. So I think about it, I'm like, I'm guessing Luke found the texts about, Jedi funeral pyres and things like that. That's the only reason I would think he would have done this.
Or, much more likely, he came across the Ewoks and they're planning to cook more people and just figured, I'm just going to co-opt this fire pit.
One of those where you're just like, oh, no, you can't eat them. Sorry.
This one's not food.
No, you can't have the helmet. I will say I did enjoy them adding
Okay,
the
so like
different...
in my head right now, I'm hearing this music and all I'm thinking is, when does Barry Manilow start singing?
I was going to say, I do enjoy the fact they went to the different planets and how all the people are celebrating the downfall of the Empire. But then, of course, we see all the stuff that's happened in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and all that stuff, and we know the Empire is alive and well. And
I
it
am
didn't
like
really go anywhere.
1,000% positive. This is the opening of Copacabana right now. Like,
I mean, you could take it that way.
did John Williams just take Copacabana and be like, I like this. Let's take down a couple octaves and take out the lyrics, and this would be a really great victory tune. Or maybe this is Cuban Pete. I can't tell. No, it's Cuban Pete. That's definitely what that is. Where's Jim Carrey dancing around in the mask?
That was definitely a fun tune, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't even know what it would be like for us if we ever used the mask. That's dangerous to think about.
Woof.
The most exaggerated versions of ourselves. No, I don't want to. I don't want to even think about it. And the thing that pissed everybody off, but they just didn't understand the vision.
Shut up.
I know, poor Sebastian Shaw. And of course, what'll happen next is the next time they redo it, it'll be like, oh wait, we can be whatever age we want to be. You just see Ewan McGregor up there.
Don't even, because like I'm now thankful that George can't make any more edits.
Well, I don't think at this point, I don't think there's really anything you can do.
You really want to put that past George Lucas?
I mean, what more could he possibly even consider doing? If it's not up to snuff to his original vision by now, you got problems.
What more can he do is what people said after the special editions in '97, Randy.
Well, again, it's out of his hands now, so it's not like we have to worry about it.
Yeah. Dot.
Gets in the ear of Dave Filoni. Hey, you want to help me make some changes?
Hey, Dave, did I ever tell you what I really thought about that scene in the end of Empire?
This is what I originally had planned for it, but the studio shot me down. Help a brother out.
Did I ever show you this version of the script I wrote once at 3 a.m. in a Denny's parking lot?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Like they should do that as a spoof somewhere, like just as a. You could do it on Robot Chicken. Have them do another Star Wars episode and have them do that. That would be amazing.
Oh, good Lord. Well, folks, thank you all for sticking around with us for the last 2 hours and 18 minutes. That was obviously Return of the Jedi. We hope you guys had fun watching this. All right. It's time for final thoughts. Ready? How do you want to sum up Return of the Jedi?
Given what, where it stands in terms of just the original trilogy and how it really did kind of pack up everything into a nice, neat little bow to make it very hard to expand upon, even though we all know people found ways. No, to me, it still holds up. They didn't change as much as they could have, like with the other two, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I didn't have any issues with that to begin with. It's still in my top 5 for me. Yeah, it's as a kid, it was my favorite. It was the one that I watched all the time. And I still enjoy watching it to this day when it's on TV, even if it's just background noise. But I feel like it even if it's not the best, it's still good enough to always hold my attention.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think Empire is Empire. Wow.
It's the superior film by far.
Woof. No, for me, I think Jedi is. It gets sort of short shrift in the original trilogy because the first one is the first one. It holds that. It gets that special place vote, and then obviously Empire is one of the greatest films of all time.
Yep.
It's impossible to compete with that, you know, as far as the OT goes. Like, you know, for me, 4 gets the nostalgia, 5 gets the just amazing filmmaking that is that film, and then this one
Yeah.
just is the third part of the trilogy. You know, not to say that it's bad, because it's not. Not to say that it's not enjoyable, because it is. It just exists amongst 2 other powerhouses in this franchise that it's impossible not to be overlooked.
Exactly.
And it's a testament to this film, you know, that it is still as good as it is. It still holds up as well as it does. And, you know, outside of some things that George has changed over the years that are, you know, sort of detrimental to those who've experienced it before, if you're it's the thing, like we talk about, you know, showing this to like your kids for the first time and seeing this, you know, for new viewers, for new
Mhm.
audiences, they don't understand these changes being wrong. You know, they don't understand that these
Right.
things are different. You know, for the generation of kids who are just watching, you know, like Sean talks about watching the OT with his kids, and you know, for them, Han never shot first.
Right.
You know, and it's interesting, that dichotomy of, you know, when you watched it is your experience. You know, your first cut of the film is your first cut of the film. You know, obviously you have the theatrical one, and for Sean and myself, the first one we saw was, you know, most likely the TV version, or, you know, in the mid
Right.
90s, or the special edition. That it's such a different viewing experience for all the different generations, and I love it. You know, Jedi is perilous because it, people who grew up with it, you know, like you said, you know, you were so young when it came out that, you know, Ewoks were for your generation.
Right.
You know, they were made specifically to appeal to you, and that's fine. You know, to people who were, you know, our age when the trilogy first started, hated them because childish and garbage. Same reason our generation hates the Gungans. Like, did you ever feel that way looking back on it? Like, damn.
I felt like that definitely Jar Jar was created to sell merchandise. And then, of course, as we played video games with the Gungans and we got to hear more of the Gungan speech, and you're just kind of going, oh my God, shut up. Boss Nass. I'm like, what the hell is that?
You know, it's the thing. You know, every trilogy has its species or creature that's part of the saga that you're just like, oh, okay, I've had enough of your shit.
Like porgs?
Exactly. That's where I was going with that reference. You know, the OT, you had Ewoks. Sequel trilogy, you had Gungans. Or excuse me, the prequel trilogy, you had Gungans, and in the sequel trilogy, you had Porgs. You know,
It's funny how that worked out. Because with the sequel trilogy, my wife was all about BB-8, and then the Porgs came out, and she had to have everything Porg. And then we watched The Mandalorian, and Baby Yoda fever hit her, and that's pretty much where she is now. Just about everything Star Wars she buys is Grogu related, though she loved Ahsoka enough to where now she's looking for loth cats and things like that.
you know, it's a wonderful experience. You know, seeing these films and enjoying them. And I love watching
Yeah.
them again. You know, with you guys. And um,
Well, I
well,
know we'll discuss it at a later time, but since we're going to move the Phantom Menace to May, obviously we need to figure out March and April
March and
still.
April. If only there were 2 films that sort of fall in between trilogies that might fit that hole very nicely.
I can think of a couple that just might fit the bill.
I wonder what they are. But no, you know, as we start wrapping it up in the chat here, uh, we'll come back to it. You know, we don't have Sean here to pull it up, so I'll just read them out here. Chosen Nightwolf said Vader's suit was also used as a way to control him by the Emperor. It was made of outdated Sith tech. Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, I guess. But I still think, Vader was still sort of a slave to his choices. I don't think the tech quite played on him as much, despite it being sort of that outdated Sith style tech.
Right. But it's definitely one of those things where, Anakin made a choice and he had to live with it, and Palpatine took advantage of it.
Yeah. And he did right up until it stopped being, so, it wasn't until Luke literally sort of stared into the abyss of death that Vader was just like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Sure, you couldn't have made this decision a long time ago. You gave it all up for love. Maybe finding out, wait, I have kids? Wasn't a moment where you're like, wait a minute.
You told me I didn't have any kids. Oh, well. This changes everything.
There's a part of Padme still on in the galaxy? What do you mean?
See, now, what gets me is how, because I know part of the reason they cast Natalie Portman is because she did look similar to Carrie Fisher at that, having the young Leia. So I'm trying to figure out how Vader never looked at Leia and went, why do you look so familiar?
Yeah. She looks like Padme. Why? Or even sort of had that, familiarity, that response. It's whatever, you can't know what you know then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously, Natalie Portman was, I don't even think, born yet when this trilogy started.
Nah, yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, you obviously can't know that, when you eventually get to the prequel trilogy, you're going to cast someone who does have a resemblance, and you're going to want that. So, you know what I mean? It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can forgive stuff like that because you don't realize you're going to stumble into an actress like Natalie Portman, who is talented and does have sort of a, familial passing resemblance to Carrie. So it is what it is there. He chosen also said, I'm assuming this is about Leia. Contextually, that's all I have to go on. She could have been, but chose to bypass the majority of her Jedi training to serve what eventually became the New Republic as a senator.
Yeah, I think that's the explanation they used in the original, not the original, but the sequel trilogy, because the flashback they have is Luke training her, and then Luke explaining why she chose not to be a Jedi.
Well, I mean, let's not forget though, she was already in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, using her training that way probably would have been. May have been just too tempting to use the Force to sway things her way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power.
She could have seen it as a corrupting influence.
We saw what happened with Palpatine, and I mean, granted, he was an asshole from the word go since he was under Plagueis, but still, to be a senator, to have the Force as your, your tool to use while you're in power, that's...
It's certainly a crutch that could have been pulled on in a very bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Is there anything else you want to say, Randy, about this? Or you feel good?
No, I mean, I think it was fun watching it. It was obviously great making some smart ass remarks, just because we all think that some of the shit are just like, how did they not think this? Or how it's like wondering what Vader's thinking during a situation, or C-3PO is just like sitting there looking like a goldenrod like he always does. It's just like there's just so much to play with there that it's just a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to, obviously we'll obviously keep talking about this film throughout the course, different things here, different topics there. But I think it is time for us to put an end to this show.
I agree.
So, yeah. All right, it's time to wrap it up. It's time for us to say goodnight. Unfortunately, producer Sean is not in the producing booth right now, so you guys are just going to have to deal with some dead air for a while. So once we sign off, once we say our goodbyes and all that, the screen's we're going to disappear. The screen's going to stay up. The stream's going to stay live until Sean can get back to the producer's booth and the actual live show. So apologies for that to anyone watching this not live. The show's over when it's over. So if you enjoyed the show, if you like the show, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, leave a comment to help us defeat the evil algorithm. Check out all the other content here on the Fandom Empire channel. Monday nights, Tonight in Haddonfield. Tuesday nights, obviously us. Wednesday nights, Welcome to the Geek Side when it happens. And keep an eye out for random pop-up gaming streams that Sean likes to pull out, typically on Friday nights when they do happen. And keep your eyes and ears open. Forthcoming future Legacy of Smallville. I almost said Supernatural again. Every time. I always want to say Supernatural. Legacy of Smallville will be coming soon to your screens in front of you. If you want to contribute on another level, head on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Fandom Empire, where you can contribute at whatever level you're comfortable with. Anywhere from 0 to, I don't know, a gajillion credits. Whatever you want to contribute is an option. So, for Sean, who couldn't be with us because he was feeling under the weather, except when he felt appropriate to pop in and tell Randy why he was wrong about Halloween, or correct us on the life status of Max Rebo, or any other random time he popped up tonight. Of course, we want to thank Tommy B for joining us for the first hour of the film or so. Again, conveniently left as soon as the Ewoks showed up. Do with that information what you will. And by that, I mean send him pictures of Ewoks on Facebook and post them on his wall. Just don't tell him I told you to do that, okay?
He'll love every minute of it, and he just won't admit it.
Exactly. So, for myself, for Randy, for Sean, for Tommy, for everybody here at the channel, thank you for watching. I hope you were able to endure with us as we explored this film. And we say this is the ending from Endor. We'll see you next week. And may the Force be with you all.
Well, hey, we maybe thought maybe he could hop back in while we were waiting, but I guess not.
So now it is time for us to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the end of episode 4 and just go.
Good night, folks.